Okay, if you don't make efforts to acquire knowledge, then you would not expect to have it. And if you do not put the knowledge you've had in use, then you cannot expect to gain anything from it. If you don't make efforts to acquire knowledge, then you would not expect to have it. And if you do not put the knowledge you have to use, you cannot expect to gain anything from it. Then, good and sweet things of life may appear difficult to achieve, but in the end, it is worth it. Good and sweet things of life may appear difficult to achieve, but in the end, it is worth it. Then, if you upset someone, apologize to him or her. If someone upsets you, forgive him or her, because what goes around comes around. Now, if you upset someone, apologize to him or her. And if someone upsets you, forgive him or her, because what goes around comes around. Good morning wherever you are around the world, and welcome to the 58th episode of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio. Okay, good afternoon to listeners of African Cocktail in Port Harcourt, that is in Nigeria. And if you're listening to the show in Ilorin, we are still in Nigeria, we say good afternoon. Then good afternoon to you listening to African Cocktail in Aba, Nigeria. Then to you listening to the show in Bafoussam, that is the west region of Cameroon, we say good afternoon. Then good afternoon to you in Bukavu, that is in the DRC. Good morning to you listening to African Cocktail in Maryland, here in the United States of America. And to you in Massachusetts, we say good morning. Then good afternoon to you listening to the show in Gaundal. Gaundal is in the Adamawa region of the northern regions of Cameroon. Then good afternoon to you listening to African Cocktail in Pretoria, that is in South Africa. And to you listening to the show in Cleveland, that is in Ohio, we say good morning. What about you listening to African Cocktail in Egypt, Cairo? Then we say good afternoon to you listening to the show in Khartoum, that is in Sudan. And to you listening to African Cocktail in Italy, we say buongiorno. Si vous êtes à Paris, on vous dit bon après-midi. And to you listening to African Cocktail in Stuttgart, that is in Germany, we say guten Tag. What about you in Antananarivo, that is in Madagascar, we say good afternoon to you. Then to you listening to African Cocktail in Luanda, Angola, we say good afternoon. And to you in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, then to you listening to the show in Maseru, that is in Lesotho, we say good afternoon. Then good afternoon to you listening to the show in Gaborone, that is in Botswana. And to you in Lagos, Nigeria. Then to you listening to African Cocktail in Bouaké, Yamoussoukro, and of course Abidjan, that is in Ivory Coast, we say good afternoon to you. Then to you listening to African Cocktail in Nagasaki, Japan, we say good evening. Then good afternoon to you listening to the show in Nairobi, Kenya. And to you in Dakar, Senegal, we simply say in French, bon après-midi. Then to you listening to African Cocktail in Harare, Zimbabwe, we say good afternoon. What about you listening to the show in Los Angeles, California, we say good morning. And to you listening to the show in Moscow, that is in Russia, we say good evening. Then to you listening to African Cocktail in Melbourne, Australia, good evening to you. And to you in Niamey, Niger, we say good afternoon. Then what about you listening to African Cocktail in Columbus, Ohio, we say good morning. Then whenever you get this voice on Wednesday at this hour, know that you're listening to African Cocktail. Welcome to the 5th edition of your darling show for phase 2 of 2014, which is of course the 58th since we started the show last year. Just like we say all the time, African Cocktail is that party on radio that brings you all the niceties of the beautiful African continent. So how much of Africa do you know? How much of Africa do you eat? Then how much of Africa do you wear? How much of African entertainment news do you get to savour? And of course, how much of African music and dance do you get to enjoy? These are the kind of questions we do well to answer just on this show. African Cocktail is a mixture of the best values you can ever think of on the African continent, and in this 58th episode of the show, we talk financial freedom in the present context of economic ambiguity, when money is not only hard to come by but difficult to manage. Africans are asking the question to know how they can achieve financial freedom, otherwise financial independence. So, how can lasting wealth be created? How can the cloud around issues such as insurance, employment, and retirement benefits be blown away? This and more are some of the issues we shall be looking at in this edition of African Cocktail. Nigerian-born Douglas Anthony Eze is an author and expert in this domain. He joins us on this show as main guest to shed more light on these issues. So, he will be speaking from his Maryland base, and of course, he is the main guest in this edition of African Cocktail. And so, the 18th edition of the annual African Film Festival, dubbed Écran Noir, has entered day 5 in Cameroon's political capital Yaoundé today. Scores of filmmakers around the globe have joined initiator Basek Bakobio to grace this event marked by conferences, film screenings, and of course other cultural activities related to the 7th art. On what the 2014 edition is made up of, we shall be listening to our Central African correspondent, Ifaana Qualar, who has been in Yaoundé for the past couple of days. She files in from the nation's capital right ahead in this edition of African Cocktail. So don't go away. So, who is the victim in Victimize, an upcoming Cameroonian movie whose first phase of production has gone underway here in the United States of America? We hear as we speak that actors and crew members are on a Maryland location putting art and science together. In the course of this edition of African Cocktail, we shall make a stopover at the location where this movie is being shot, and we shall be talking to the producer of the movie, Shally Monette, live. And of course, we shall also be listening to some actors and crew members on that movie set just right ahead in this 58th edition of African Cocktail. On a similar score, the production of Rejected, another upcoming Cameroonian movie, has begun with the initial auditioning phase that took place last week in Maryland. The movie, produced by Matthew Ayong's Cradle Rocks Production International in association with Kang Quintos's Quincia Films, the movie is expected to be different from other stories that have been told already. But on how prepared they are and the calendar of the production, executive producer Mercy Etta tells us in this edition of the show. And Mercy, who doubles as Chief Operation Officer at Cradle Rocks Production International, will be one of our guests at large in this edition of African Cocktail. Now, as African countries other than Nigeria and Ghana continue to present young and talented boys and girls to the movie world, so too is Egypt. Scores of young Egyptians are streaming into the continent's movie landscape with exceptional acting skills. Some of them have been featuring in films done by producers of countries in sub-Saharan Africa. One of them is Medad, an Egyptian actor who lives in Sweden. Medad has just featured in Illegal Immigrants, produced and directed by Cameroonian Johannesburg from the northern Swedish city of Omea. Medad tells us more about his experience and of course his life as an actor, just like Los Angeles-based Sam E tells us about his concert that comes up on Friday in Baltimore, here in the United States of America. He will be on stage with Nigeria's Bracket, just in this edition of African Cocktail, so don't go away. Okay, our regular slots, the Belgium report with Titus, Bnayoh, and of course Solomon Atah's South Connect will be yours in this edition of African Cocktail. Meantime, I'm in this sumptuous 1110 studio of Africa Radio, situated at Morse Road, the northern belt of the city of Columbus alone. But then I have a main guest who will be joining me from Maryland. His name is Douglas Anthony Eze. Like I said earlier on, he is a financial expert who will be breaking some of the financial myths which have been bothering you all this while. He will be doing all of that in this edition of African Cocktail. Like I said, he is in Maryland, and at exactly 11:15, we now move to Maryland to find out if our main guest is with us in this edition of African Cocktail. So, if you are with us, Douglas Anthony Eze, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm alright. And you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
When I hear your voice, I just go with the impression that by the end of the day today, people will become rich, because when they talk you, they talk money.
I hope it's that easy, but we're going to give them a lot of good information to help them start, thinking differently from the way they've been taught how to think.
Right. So we hope that whatever thing you are going to tell them in this edition of African Cocktail will be very, very beneficial. We thank you so much for accepting this interview. It's a privilege to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, so just take a respite. We will be back with you in a couple of minutes. Thank you so much once again.
No problem.
Okay, his name is Douglas Anthony Eze. He's an expert in finance. He has to break, some of the myths we've been living with as far as making money is concerned. And of course, we shall also talk about generating wealth. I think that is part of what he is saying in creating generational wealth, which is a book he will be putting in the market in a couple of, if at all it's not already in the market, but he's going to tell us all of that in this edition of African Cocktail. So, my name is Ernest, Kanjo, regular host of the show, asking you to sit down, relax, and of course enjoy every bit of what we shall be presenting in this edition of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio this day, Wednesday, the 23rd of July 2014. It's a rainy day here in the city of Columbus, but then we're making it hot because we give you very, very interesting stuff here on Africa Radio and of course African Cocktail. So, like we say all the time on this show, we cannot begin without giving thanks to the person who makes it possible for us to be here, who gives us the ingenuity, the foresightedness, the energy, and of course the wisdom to be able to bring this show to the world. He is the Almighty God, whom we are going to praise right now. So wherever you are around the world listening to us, just bow down your head. Let's say thank you to God, at least for a moment, because He is the one and Almighty. So let's do that in music, and we're moving to Maryland to meet Bay Achu, who is telling us that she is in love with Christ. Okay, let's go.
Coursing through my veins, you make me glow brighter than the sun. Holy Lamb, your love captured my heart and gave me hope of the day to meet with you. You are my source,
Father, we thank you immensely for your unconditional love, which we enjoy all the time. It is this love that we have relied on to be able to get to where we are today, Father. Lord, we thank you for everything. Father, we are grateful and we say thank you for making this day happen. Lord, for being able to see today. We want to praise your name. And for being able to conceive and present this show every week, Lord, we want to say we are very grateful. And for contributing to the growth of others, we want to say, Lord, we are proud of you. Let this episode of African Cocktail be another great success, so that, Lord, at the end of the day, we can stand high and say, our Father did it again. We bless your name, just as we bless all contributors and, of course, listeners. Through your Son, we pray. Amen.
Jesus, my Lord.
I'm in love with you, Jesus, my Lord. Beautiful gospel music there, coming to you from Africa region. Of course, the show is African Cocktail, and that is the handiwork of Bnayoh. Call her Lady Bay. Lady Bay is an up-and-coming gospel artist based in Maryland here in the United States of America. And the song you're listening to is just a couple of days old. She released it last Monday, and of course it's been having lots and lots of positive reactions. To Bay, who is listening to us this morning, I want to say thanks so much for this beautiful piece, and of course may God bless you. And for those of you just joining us, this is the 58th edition of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio. We are broadcasting from the city of Columbus here in the state of Ohio. Then we are in the United States of America, but then we are listened to all over the world, in Africa, in Europe, in Australia, and of course in South America. Lots and lots of interesting items coming up in this edition of African Cocktail. You shall be listening to people, actors, artists, financial experts, you name them. First, we have our main guest in the person of Douglas Anthony Eze, who is a finance expert. He will be our main guest in this edition of African Cocktail, and in something like 6 minutes we shall open up our conversation with him. Then you shall also be listening to Sam E. Sam E is a young Cameroonian artist who is based in Los Angeles, California. He will be traveling to Baltimore, I think tomorrow, yeah, because he will be performing out there with Nigeria's bracket, up and coming African music stars. So Sam E will be telling us about this trip to Baltimore, where he will be thrilling his fans out there. Then we shall also listen to actors and actresses and of course crew members of Victimize. Victimize is an upcoming Cameroonian movie that has been shot as we speak in Maryland. So this show is going to make a stopover and talk with the artists and the technicians live. It's a production of Kenneth Ngamne, who doubles as a resource person on this show. Then we shall also listen to Mercy Etta, the executive producer of Rejected. Rejected is an upcoming Cameroonian movie produced by Cradle Rocks Productions International in association with Quincy Films of Quintus. Then, if we are lucky, we shall have Sandra Fondufe telling us about the Authors Pavilion, which took place in Las Vegas a couple of days ago. And of course, she was part of that event as a young author. Then we shall also make a stopover in Omnia. Omnia is a city in the northern parts of Sweden, where we shall meet Egyptian actor Medat Am. He's going to tell us about his life, his career, and of course his experience working with some producers of Sub-Saharan Africa, lots and lots of interesting things in this edition of African Cocktail, including our regular slots, the Belgium report with Titus Bnayoh in Antwerp, and of course, Solomon Atah South Connect from Johannesburg, South Africa. Then we shall also go to Cameroon, precisely in the city of Yaoundé, that is the nation's capital, where our Central African correspondent, Ifaana Qualar, will be giving us updates on what has been happening out there. Then we shall also have our African Tele review with Crystal Beauty of the Crystal Beauty Show. Lots and lots of interesting items just in this one piece of show known as African Cocktail. First things first, let's do the telling track. The telling track is that piece of music that has a message. It's quite melodious, I would agree. Danceable. You are a good dancer, but then I won't expect you to dance this time. What I want you to do is to set your ears wide open and listen to the message. It may have an impact on you. If it does, don't hesitate to press your fingers on 614-987-5097 and tell us. But then, this is an old piece, and yet the message in that piece still counts, still has something to do with the lives we live today. I call it timeless and universal, which means that what you are going to listen from Prince Nikombarga is what is still going on today. Have you ever heard about rural exodus? Okay, if you haven't, just set your ears wide open and listen to this.
Just to come down this school. This is Africa Radio. This is Africa Radio. This is Africa Radio.
Ok, sans commentaire, l'homme a parlé. No comment.
Quality Auto Services. Joe Boy, Judging Jane, Chroma Stress, and I drink Sano. Sakana problema. For Quality Auto Services. Who the answer with the kind of Bemawo? Uni how crab. Say oil change, tune ups, engine repairs and replacement, and tire changes. Or better than cast your car burdens onto Quality Auto Services. Now best smiling. Quality Auto Services. Our 5599 Westerville Road, Westerville, Ohio 43081. Phone number 614-446-0773. Obie and upon on Crow, a compliment on so 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Quality Auto Services. Oh, best smiling.
I almost remember you like a child girl.
Okay, his name is Davido, and that one is featuring Tiwa Savage. You're listening to African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio, the 58th edition with Ernest Kanjo this day, Wednesday, the 23rd of July 2014. It's definitely going to be a fantastic edition because there are lots and lots of fantastic things we shall be serving you in this edition of the show at exactly 11:07. Time for us to move to Maryland and say welcome once again to our main guest in this edition of the show. Anthony Douglas is his name. Like I said, he is an expert in financial issues. So if you are there, say once again you are welcome to African Cocktail.
Thank you so much. How you doing again? Just enjoying the music and everything, bro.
Yeah, that's the way we make it work here on Africa Radio and of course on African Cocktails. Once again, we thank you for giving us your time. I know you are a very busy person. To have you on the airwaves is usually not possible. So, Douglas Anthony Eze, am I right?
Yes, you got it.
So, why Douglas Anthony?
That's a good one. Why Douglas Anthony Eze? Well, you know, growing up in Nigeria, because that's my homeland, that's my country, which I love so much.
Right.
Just, but growing up there as a young man, just trying to figure out, you know, what's going on in the world. I left Nigeria after high school. I sold a dream to my dad to say, listen, you got to send me abroad. I'm a child from, there's 4 of us. There's 3 boys and 1 girl. My sister, she's the oldest, and then I have 2 other older brothers, and I'm the youngest out of 4. So for me to be able to sell them the dream to send me to send me abroad was a tough sale. So, but you know, growing up My dad was an ex-military man, ex-Biafran war veteran.
Right.
And, so he's a very strict guy, too. So, growing up in that family and just learning stuff, but it kind of put a lot of discipline in our lives and kind of helped, I believe it formed and shaped, how I live today. Because I learned a lot. But I was only in Africa till I was, Nigeria till I was 18 years old.
Right.
And then I left at age 18. I moved to Canada. And from Canada, I lived there for a while. But I knew my vision was to be in the God's own country, which is America. And I found my way across the border, just like a lot of other Africans do.
Right.
I wasn't born in a situation where my parents had the money to just send me to college and abroad. So I had to find my way. I got to America, worked all kinds of different jobs, and got a job working at IHOP waiting table eventually. And from there, somebody introduced me to the business I do today. So that's a short story in a nutshell.
Right. Coming to America at the age of 18, that certainly would have been a long time ago. Soon after high school, you moved from Nigeria, right?
Yes.
But I would still imagine that you would recall some of the good old days back home. Is there anything you would always want to remember when you think of your childhood, how you were growing up in Nigeria?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it was the best life ever for the fact that, well, I say it like this. Growing up, even though my dad, I would say he's middle income family and doing his thing, making sure that our family is, we didn't want for anything. I mean, we couldn't tell, even though I would say we weren't rich, but we still lived the life. And for me, the circle of friends that I had around me, a lot of them from rich families. So, I enjoyed going to when we were in high school, because that's the only memory I remember, is we getting out of school and doing uniform parties. I know a lot of my friends will remember that. We'll go to the beach. Back then there's a beach. Now it's huge. Now it's Lekki Beach. Right. And we'll get out of school and just drive and go to the beach while everybody's in school. We'll be at the beach partying and stuff. We have the music. We have everything. We have our own DJ. I mean, we were living the life like we lived America, because we watch a lot of MTV videos. Right. All the things that's happening, and, you emulate all those things. And so it was kind of those things back then, and just living, the life, getting things with friends, and just one of the things I always remember, too, is when we go to school, every morning we wake up, we all want to, even you have breakfast at home, but that never really does it. There's a place we normally meet, all our friends will meet very early in the morning at the Booker. That's, we call it Mama Put. You go in and you eat very early in the morning, eat some, some real fufu. You don't matter what you eat at home, you got to still go there at 6 a.m. eating fufu in the morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning before you go to school.
That's a very retentive memory. It's a long time since you left Nigeria, but you're able to recall all of what used to happen when you were back home. That's quite interesting. So, could you just tell us about the kind of education you have had? I mean, formal education. What did you study in school? And what are you studying right now? Because I know learning never ends.
Of course, learning never ends. Well, when I came into America at age 23, I had a decision to make, either to go to school or just jump into the workforce. And going to school meant, I can't really support my family while I'm in school. So I decided to, just jump into the workforce and start trying to accomplish that American dream. Because I had a family, that are depending on me back home, especially my parents, because I made a promise to my dad when I left that he's never going to regret sending me abroad. Right. So I didn't continue school here in America. I didn't continue going to school. I just just jumped into the workforce. But then when I got introduced into to the financial service business, I started self-learning. The first and first, one of the great news about America and the financial service industry. There's a lot of great folks that they go to college and they get the degrees to get into the financial world, but you don't have to go that route as well. There's other ways you could accomplish that as well, where you have to study, go to an outside course and get your certificate to be able to offer investments, and then there's always continuing education. But that's just one way. Then it's up to you to take your knowledge to the next level. If you want to be a mediocre financial planner, you could just be a mediocre financial planner and stay in that lane. But me being a Nigerian and always curious and want to be the best in whatever I do, because we have that in our blood as Nigerians. We always want to be the best in whatever we put our mind to. So I say, I'm going to take this to a whole new level. I need to really understand what this is all about, especially the financial industry. And when I started digging in, studying, researching, understanding the business, and 4 or 5 years later, as I work with different organizations, different companies, I decided, it's time for me to become my own boss and create my own future, my own destiny, instead of working for other people and being controlled like a puppet. Because, with an African blood, we don't like being controlled by no one.
Right. Okay, the African blood, we don't like being controlled by others all the time. Douglas, Anthony, I'll be right back with you. Just take a respite. Let's have some music, then we'll come back to you.
No problem.
Okay, the main guest in this edition of African Cocktail. We are still to get into the crux of the matter with him because he has lots and lots of things to tell you in this edition of the show. He's going to break down some of those concepts which we find really difficult to understand as far as the financial world is concerned. Okay, let's have some music then. We'll be right back.
Lele mama, mama la la lele, oh shake it for Africa, do it for Africa, mama mama lele, oh lele mama, oh shake it for Africa, oh yeah rise up and stand up for Africa. See the whole world be looking at us, yeah, 'cause our land is honey, all the future money, and see Akijima, no I see Ali. Sandy Mali, they want it, yo, they need it, man, we have it, yes, let the world come and taste this beautiful land, they want it, oh, they need it, yeah, we have it, let the world come and taste this beautiful land now. To be a part of the continent, all your sisters and your brothers and your friends, let's get together, let's hold hands and let us dance. Let's unite and give ourselves another chance. I see the walk out for all the see many things, everything the apple picking the jolly. Oh yeah, now let's Africa. And in the sun or the rain or the street and the fame, we get together. Let's Africa. Oh, Nelson Mandela, Lupita Nyong'o, oh Desmond Tutu, oh Barack Obama, Kwame Nkrumah, all my freedom fighters. You know what time it is? Let's go. Come on. Africa stand up. Everybody move, make a decision, hands up. We came a long way, so now we can't stop. Free for life, we're taking off the handcuff. We came to spread love through the sea breeze. Natural, Mama Africa, we need peace. Home sweet home, everybody for free.
music there coming to you from Davido and Tiwa Savage. And of course, the show you're listening to at this moment is African Cocktail. Like I said earlier on, we shall be having the producer of Victimize. Victimize is an upcoming Cameroonian movie that has been shot as we speak in Maryland. At exactly 20 minutes past 11, we hear producer Kenneth Ngamne and his director are live on the airwaves of Africa Radio, ready to tell us how far they've gone with this much talked about and much awaited production. Kenneth Ngamne, you're welcome to African Cocktail.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ernest. It's a pleasure always talking to you.
Should I call you Kenneth Ngamne today, or I should call you Ken Shally Monette?
I think Ken Shally Monette sounds romantic. What do you think?
Okay, no problem. Ken Shally Monette is the producer of Victimize, an upcoming Cameroonian movie. It's coming after The Storm, which was launched earlier this year. Kenneth, you are 5 days old on set in Maryland. So how has it been so far?
Well, going through production is not easy, with the running up and down, left to right, but the good thing is when you have the right people to work with, you definitely have to hit it right. So that is why, one of the things that I'm extremely happy and proud of is that I have a very good organization team, which is headed by my able director, Mr. Ephraim Chiejina Onyemaechi. Yeah, so with somebody like him, he's putting everything on check, and right now I'm talking, we are already on set shooting, and already, out of my expectation, we are already about 80% into the movie, so we might possibly have to end all of production even earlier than the time that we thought. Right.
Ken, let me just find out this. You live in Minnesota, yet you move to Maryland to do a production. I can begin to imagine how difficult it is to move from your base and you engage in such a huge production, away from home.
Yeah, it is really, because, leaving the family back in Minnesota, my kids, they call me all the time, they cry over the phone, they miss daddy, my wife and stuff. So, but again, they know that daddy is working, and normally if you have the love and passion for movie production and what I do, then definitely you have to sacrifice that time to do it. So I have to sacrifice the time, sacrifice family, sacrifice work, and by God's grace, we are heading there. So, yeah, it's a time worth sacrificing, and I'm not really regretting the fact that I came here to do this production just like I did when I was shooting The Storm.
Right. So, logistically, human resource-wise, would you say all is satisfactory?
I'm that kind of a person who never say everything is 100%, but at least I know that we are on a very good footing.
Okay, on a good footing, and we hope that everything will move on smoothly. Is there any particular thing you would say has marked you so far since you started shooting this movie last Saturday?
So far, I would say that I was far more than impressed with the cast. My expectations, they exceeded my expectations. What I was expecting from them, it's far more than what I was expecting. Again, like I said, it's thanks to the fact that, you work with people who already know the art, because if there's any decision that I made about this production, is the kind of person that I choose to direct my movie. So I'm extremely happy and proud about what he's doing.
And let me turn to your director who is with you. Good morning, sir.
Okay, one moment. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Director.
Good morning, sir.
So how are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. And you?
I'm fine. We thank God. So for my listeners who haven't come across you yet, could you just tell them who you are again?
Okay, my name is Chiejina Ephraim Onyemaechi. The award-winning producer and the assistant director of A Beautiful Soul. I'm a 2009 nominated movie and the City award-winning movie in Nigeria.
Right.
I am a graduate of Mass Communication Department from IMT Enugu, Nigeria. I've been in the industry for almost 15 years. Igodo, the popular Igodo movie was my first movie. I've done about 250 films. I started as a production assistant. Then from production assistant to production coordinator.
Right.
From production coordinator to continuity. I won an award 2003 in Nigeria as the best continuity from the Censor Board of Nigeria twice, 2003 and 2004.
Right.
Then from continuity to assistant director. Then from assistant director, I started directing 2009. I've done hit movies like Lost Hero, Heal My Soul. Then that same 2009, I did Beautiful Soul, which gave me 3 awards. Presently, I'm in America because I came here to join my wife.
Right.
She's here. So because, I'm a proud Africa.
Definitely.
That is not proud of his color is not fit to live.
Sure.
I'm here to tell Nigeria story. I'm here to tell African story.
Right.
In our own way. When you talk about Nollywood, Nollywood has to do with Cameroon, all African countries involved. So when I came here, I met Mr. Ken, who has been a good actor.
Right.
When he told me about the story, what moves me is not just money, it's about the story. So when I read the story that we are doing now, so I was impressed because if you've seen Beautiful Soul, they have, it's not just a story, it's not just an ordinary story. It's a story with facts.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Sure. And so you've been on set with actors and other crew members for the past 5 days. How has it been going so far? How is the relationship with these people on location? Could you just describe how the atmosphere has been?
When opportunity meet with preparation, it results into success.
Right.
I've taken my time with Ken to plan the pre-production very well. Take our time, months, like 2 to 3 months, do the pre-production aspect. Plan for everything, do the schedule, all the props, all the things, car props, welfare, location, costumes, makeup. Now that the production is on. So we don't need to lack anything. We are moving smoothly. Everything is moving everywhere. We are working with, in as much as people are busy here.
Right.
Taking their time to come and be with us, to give us the best. Things are moving accordingly.
I should also assume that you're meeting some of the artists for the very first time. How has it been? Does it flow with these actors?
It's different here. It's different here. We've taken our time to do audition before this job. We didn't just meet them.
Okay. Right. That's impressive.
We have a target. We have a target. We want to bring Hollywood to Nollywood. We want Hollywood to appreciate what we are doing.
Right.
So we can't just see people on the road and pick them to come and be featured in our movies.
Okay.
And the producer, he has been here before I joined him to audition all our cast before me coming to meet them and then do rehearsal with them before we start shoot. We didn't just take them and start, because see, in America here, it's not like Africa or Nigeria where people can be free. They can give you like 1 week. Here, people work. So you have to plan to favor their schedule.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Director. We hope to have you again on this show before the end of this production, at least before this film is premiered. Let me go back to Kenneth and run off this very quick conversation. Kenneth, are you still there?
Okay, hold on. Hello?
Yes, Kenneth, I just want to find out from you, how much time do you still have to put in, at least for this first phase of production?
Well, so far right now, the cut-off date for this shooting is the 29th of this month. So, God's willing and by God's grace, we might be able to be done with the project before the 29th. So, possibly before the 29th, we might be done with production, and I should be back in Minnesota by that 29th.
And post-production is going to begin soon after filming?
Immediately after filming, we're going to start post-production. So there's a huge possibility the movie can start hitting the wave before we hit the end of August.
All right. So we expect to have this movie out in the market sometimes in, is it September?
Possibly. I will not say yes, but I will not say, neither will I say no, but I will say possibly, owing to the fact that you don't unforeseen circumstances, we have a very good plan. We've scheduled everything from now up to the time of post-production. So by God's grace and God's willing, September, we should be out.
Right. Kenneth, one last question before you go away. How different is Victimize with the one you already did? I'm talking about The Storm.
Well, the first thing is that you know me very well, and most people that know me when it comes to writing my stories, I take my time to write them, and you know The Storm is a very good story. The difference is that there are two different stories telling two different situations, but the similarity is that, you know, it's a very strong story, just as The Storm, and the same ways that The Storm created, Victimize is going to create. But again, I'm going to tell you that the wave that Victimize is going to create is going to be far bigger than The Storm. And my reason is the fact that it's not only because that the story of Victimize is more intense, more tight, and more beautiful than the story of The Storm. It is based on the fact that, on the difference of the people that I'm working with on the set of Victimize.
Right.
Again, the organization and the nature of working and the production style of my current director gives me enough reason, because it's not like my previous director was not good. He was good. He did a very good job with The Storm. But the style that I'm using to work on Victimize, I believe that it is more intense and more tight than I did when I did The Storm. So for that, another important thing is the locations. His choice of locations, like a couple of locations that I pointed, which he turned down, and then we had to change and go to different locations that suit each of the scenes that we are shooting. So his choice of location, his choice of where we have to shoot or who to shoot, of the costuming, going through the costumes, taking time to make sure that the actors and actresses wear the right costumes for the right scenes. You know, those are the things that I'm very impressed about, and that's the difference that I'm going to see with The Storm.
I would also add, Kenneth, that progress demands that every next production should be better than the previous one. Who are the actors featuring in this one, Kenneth?
In this one right now, I have a South African lady who is playing my lead. Her name is Desiree AY, and I'm the lead male character.
Right.
And I'm playing the role of Jones. Then I have the producer of Deep Sea Diving, him and his wife, Mr. Joe Kometa, and the wife, Ima Tabot. We were playing. Then I have Ejike Okoye, who is a popular Nigerian actor. He's also featuring the movie. I have a Guinean producer, Trina, who is also coming into the movie. I have Seal Anim. Seal Anim is a Cameroonian actress, very beautiful and talented actress who had played in Nollywood movies before relocating to the U.S. And coincidentally, Mr. Ephraim used to be his director when her director when she was in Nigeria. And then I have Clara Fernando, who is coming all the way from Connecticut, who was a recent nominated actress for the NAFCA award. And then I have a young Jose, who is also a Cameroonian and a very good actor. So we have a very beautiful cast. You know, we have a very beautiful cast. I have Natalie B, who is coming in. I have Stella Icon, who came all the way from Houston. So we have Mata Tungong, which we all know, and what he did on The Storm. So we have a very, very beautiful cast, and we have people who already know the art, and with our expertise and again, not to let you know that the director of productions, the photographer is none other than Mr. Christopher Okonkwo, who shot The Storm. So, you know, we have a very intense and huge team, and the thing I'm really happy and proud about is that the people that I'm working with right now, they are people who are already in the arts, and they already know what they have to give to the director. So shooting is going very smoothly because he's not having a lot of difficulties trying to change their style of shooting, because he's seeing how they're doing and they're giving him what he wants.
A very huge team comprising of actors with talents and, of course, technicians with lots of expertise. Kenneth, thank you so much. I'm going to leave you so that you go back and manage some logistical issues out there. And of course, I'm also going to leave Ephraim Chiejina to go and continue calling the shots. Thank you so much for interrupting your work this morning to tell us about what's going on out there. We hope to have you again subsequently on this show.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ernest.
Okay, his name is Kenneth Ngamne, producer of an upcoming Cameroonian movie known as Victimize. And for those of you who have just joined in, you are listening to the 58th 8th edition of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio with your friend Ernest Kanjo. Let's have some music, then we'll move back to Maryland and meet our main guest.
This is Africa Radio. This is Africa Radio.
C'est Don Jay-Z, enchanté avec ça c'est Tiwa Savage. We are still doing contemporary music, and of course the show is African Cocktail with Ernest Kanjo, the edition of July the 23rd with Douglas Anthony Eze as main guest. Lots and lots of people to talk in this edition. They are still coming up. We shall listen to Sam E, a young Cameroonian artist who lives in Los Angeles. He'll be moving over to Baltimore this weekend to have a concert with Nigeria's Bracket. Then we shall also listen to our correspondent Solomon Atah in South Africa, Titus Bnayoh in Antwerp, Belgium, and of course Ifaana Qualar will be reporting from Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé.
Doro chop be anybody way, Doro beef, Doro.
you received your prescription from your doctor yet? Good. Looking for a convenient pharmacy for all your medication and pharmaceutical needs? Well, Hope Pharmacy is the right place to go. Providing free medical counseling for all their customers, Hope Pharmacy also provides free prescription pickup and delivery, free vitamins with your prescription order, easy transfer of prescriptions, and Hope Pharmacy provides fast-track prescription service. No wait time. Hope Pharmacy accepts major insurance coverages. They're located on 5791 Cleveland Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43221. Again, 5791 Cleveland Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43231. The hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Again, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. If you need any more information, contact Hope Pharmacy at 614-426-4160. Again, 614-426-4160. Hope Pharmacy. Your health is our priority.
Okay, your health is our priority. Go to Hope Pharmacy for your medications. This is African Cocktail coming to you from Africa Radio. We are going to move over to the West African sub-region, musically speaking, and we are in Ivory Coast. His name is Sumbil. That one is titled L'Aveugle et l'Indante. Okay, listen to this one, then we'll move to Maryland in a couple of seconds to meet our main guest in this edition of African Cocktail.
Pourquoi nous mettons tant d'énergie à nous détruire? Amor camine soit surao, yeni soit surao. Mille ade moi mon beso son tete. Encore une fois, tu avec ses enfants dans les mains, traumatisé par la guerre, il n'y a que plus la force de marcher. Encore une fois, la bêtise humaine s'est manifestée.
Okay, we're going to pause that beautiful one by Sumbil. Time for us to get back to our main guest, but we promise that we'll come back to that beautiful tune. Okay, Douglas Anthony Eze is back on the air. Welcome back to African Cocktail, sir.
Thank you so much.
So, and let me find out from you, in what specific area of finance are you an expert in, and why did you choose this area?
Well, when I got into the financial service business, I got my licenses in different arenas, in the securities arena, to be able to offer mutual funds to clients, and as well retirement planning.
Right.
And I also have the life and health license as well. But as I continue to stay in the business and understand the business and do my research, I started seeing some things about, making sure that clients, especially the African clients that we work with, I wanted to go in and educate them a lot more about insurance. But I started doing a lot more research about life insurance and to understand the concept and the history and how wealthy families use them. So I decided to just focus a lot on that and just say, you know what, especially realizing that in any financial plan, before you do anything, life insurance is a foundation that has to be put in place. So just understanding when it comes to having a foundation in anything that you do, it made so much sense. So I decided to just focus on life insurance, especially running to a lot of, when I get invited to an African church or something to do a seminar, I've started seeing a lot of Africans don't believe in life insurance, or for whatever reason. I've heard some African men say, well, I don't want to leave my wife with all this money. I don't want my wife to kill me. So then I take it away from their wife, and I say, how about your children? What happens? And then we see a lot of Africans, especially, that are here, they want to be buried back home in Africa. And I say to them, well, if you're going to be buried back home, do you think your wife and your children are going to go smile at the airport to take your body home? The airlines need money, to carry you home.
Right.
So I decided to kind of change the way I present to my African people regarding life insurance, I started showing them how the wealthy families use life insurance as a way to create wealth and as a way for you to start seeing life insurance not just for death. You can actually use it as your emergency savings account. That you could put money in and take money out.
Douglas, let me come in here. I just want to ask this quick question, which will definitely lead me to the next. Is life insurance necessary for Africans living in Africa?
Well, life insurance is necessary for every human being alive. I mean, it just depends on what the country itself has and what are their focus. So I know in Nigeria they do have life insurance, but it's not as huge as it is here. Because I'll tell you, when I was in Nigeria, I didn't know nothing about life insurance. My dad didn't have no life insurance. My mom didn't have no life insurance. And there's a lot of Nigerians and that live in Nigeria that don't have life insurance. And then there's some that do have.
Right.
But it's all about the education and the awareness. But in America and in other parts of the country, I'll use Japan for example. Every citizen in Japan owns a life insurance policy. I mean, it's a big deal there.
Now, this leads me to the next question. I just want to ask some basic questions which people ask. Now, with a life insurance, it means you are going to be paying in some money for life, right?
Yes.
Right. Let's move a little bit away from the diaspora and step into Africa. We are in Africa and we understand the context. Now, this is money you have to pay in for life every blessed month or every blessed week, I don't know, but then you have to keep paying this money. And we know the financial situation of most Africans. There's an African who cannot even live up to $1 a day, yet you expect him to pay in life insurance. How does he go about it? So that is where the problem is. They don't have the money, so why would they think of life insurance where they don't even have the money to pay?
Well, just like I said, every country is different, and life insurance, I'll use, again, because for me, I don't know a whole lot in the Nigerian or the African community what they do outside of here. Because like I said before, when I was in Africa, when I was growing up, I didn't know nothing about life insurance. I didn't even know if it existed or not. But one thing here in America, the difference is you're using a penny to buy $1.
Right.
So my stuff is, for those Africans that do move here, they need to get rid of that mentality that they still have back home, thinking they're still back home. You can't be in America and be thinking about it back home. You need to, like they say, when you're Rome, you act like the Romans. Life insurance here in America, you're using a penny to buy $1.
Right.
So you don't have to be super wealthy to buy life insurance. You could buy life insurance for as little as $10, $15, $20, depending on what your circumstance is. But at the same time, that's money you're going to leave behind for a family member to use to, one, bury that person, two, change their lifestyle from total poverty to becoming, at least getting out of the status quo a little bit and becoming a little bit, they're not gonna, you can never leave somebody rich with life insurance. That's another myth that most people think. A lot of folks think, I don't want to leave this person rich with life insurance. Well, that's a big lie. You can never leave nobody rich with life insurance. That's not gonna happen. You could have them survive maybe for 5 years, 10 years, at least give them enough time to be able to adjust to that person dying. So when you take it back to Africa, it just depends on the government and the system, because they could create insurance that everyone can afford. So one thing about life insurance is all about what is what the system set up to do. Here in America, insurance are owned by insurance companies are very wealthy. They're very rich. They control a lot of assets in this country. And life insurance didn't start here in America. It started back in the Roman Empire.
Right.
They had life insurance back then. United Kingdom had life insurance, also has life insurance. So the only thing, maybe it's a song that we need to take back to our continent and get the companies that are there, because there's a lot of insurance companies in Africa. They just need to start educating the people about why it's important for them to have one.
Now, Douglas, let me be the mouthpiece of the people at this moment. Let me vehicle this worry. Now, people say they really don't see the essence of insurance logically. Now, they pay car insurance, house insurance, life insurance, as you put it, health insurance, insurance in virtually everything. But then they don't get sick so often. They don't have, they don't get into accidents, and so on and so forth. Yet this money keeps going, and so they're asking the question: what is the logic in insurance? Could you just clarify? Could you just clarify them?
Well, you know, I'll say this. You know, and that's a good way to, because a lot of folks think that. But the logic in insurance is when something do happen. You know, I asked somebody one time, you know, have you ever been in a car accident? And they say, yeah. I said, when you were in that car accident, what was the first thing that came in your mind when you realized that you survived it? What was the first thing? And you know what they said? Oh, I'm sure glad I have insurance. You know, so insurance is for what if. What if you get sick? What if you, you know, I'll put it this way. You know, and this is something I always ask a lot of people. I say, if you have a situation where you have a machine, or let's put it, an ATM machine in your house.
Right.
You know, ATM is where you go in and you pull money out every day. Before you go to work, you go in, you put your card, you get the money out. It's right in your living room. You know, how much insurance coverage will you put in that ATM machine to make sure if it ever breaks down, for you to be able to fix it?
Right.
You know what people say? I'll put full coverage on it because I don't want to be stuck without, you know, if it breaks down. I say, well, guess what you are? You're the ATM machine for your family, because one day you will get sick. One day you will, you know, God forbid, heart attack, stroke, cancer, death. We all know we're going to die. So why don't you see the importance of insurance? It don't matter. You could pay for it forever, but one day you will use it. It's a given. You know, I mean, we cannot escape this world without insurance. I mean, without debt. So everybody needs it. It's so important. I call it a guaranteed lottery ticket. So many people spend money on lottery tickets, but they don't spend money on insurance. You know, that's a guaranteed lottery ticket that will pay to the family members. And you know the good thing with today's world, the kind of insurance that we offer to people, you actually don't have to die to use it. It gives you benefit when you are alive. So you could actually take money from it to buy a car. You could take money from your insurance to put down on a house. You could even take money to pay off a student loan. But a lot of people don't know they could do all that.
Right. Okay, a guaranteed lottery ticket. That is what life insurance is all about. His name is Douglas Anthony Eze. He is an expert in finance. We have just a couple of minutes more with our main guest because he's very busy, very, very busy. And so when he gives us just 1 minute of his time, then we have to be grateful. Okay, we'll be having lots and lots of other people talking in this edition of African Cocktail. But then, let me come back to you, Douglas. I understand you have a book which you've just written, Creating Generational Wealth. Has it been published yet?
Yes, the book has been published. You've been selling a lot of it. It's a great book. It's just a simple way. I share a lot of my story in the book. I share a lot of information for people to use to create that generational wealth and keep the wealth in the family from one generation to the other. Because, you know, we're from Africa. We know so many families that are rich. But when they die, that family becomes, you know, that wealth my last 3 or 4 years, and it's over. And then you see the same family, they're now living like a puppet. So why is that? Well, because they weren't properly planned. So here in America, you look at the same system. People that are rich, when they die, their family wealth continues to grow from one generation to the other.
So what is the secret? What is the secret? So what is the secret?
Well, the secret is, you know, the secret is having proper planning, having some documents in place, having the right tools in place.
Right.
They have real estate. How do you make sure that real estate property, if something happens, all that money don't go to the federal government? I've been making sure. So I put all that in my book, Creating Generational Wealth, what the super wealthy know that you need to know.
Right.
And it makes it easy for people to understand it, and they could find out a lot about what they need to do. And it's an easy read.
So, concretely, how would you create this generational wealth you're talking about, and what is the guarantee that it would last?
Well, if we go into the guarantee, that it's all about what are you doing to plan it, to make sure you could stretch it out. And that's one thing I put in, wrote down in the book, to make sure that you understand it first, because understanding wealth is something that everyone thinks is so complicated. What I decided to do was write a book to make it easy for you to understand, that I share my story and share how I'm creating my generational wealth for my children, because it just takes one person, to change a family's legacy. And in the book, I share a lot of great tips and great ideas, from research of wealthy families in America, for me being a very successful financial advisor, showing people, working with a lot of wealthy families and working with a lot of attorneys that understand the taxes, that understand estate planning, and using that to share in the book to make it real simple that anyone could pick up the book, read it, and take action. That's what my book is all about. It's an action kind of book, where once you read it, all you have to do now is follow the steps one day at a time and do what I advise you in the book to kind of, start doing. If you're going to talk to an advisor, what kind of people you have to have around you in your circle? What kind of documents to have when you have a business, when you start your own business.
Right.
What are the things that you're putting in place to control that business from the grave? A lot of times, we don't know. We think, we just going to leave money to people. But if you leave money to anyone and you don't control it, they're going to misuse it. That's why you see the wealthy families, they're controlling all their businesses from the grave, like Disney World, Johnson & Johnson family, Walmart, all those people that you all go to and shop in their stores today, that we've heard their names and their families and the billion in the Forbes magazine. Well, that money has been in the family from one generation to the other, and it continues to grow. So there's things that they're doing. It's no secret. It's out in the public. You just got to search for it.
Right. Okay, Douglas, let's have a few seconds of music, then we'll be right back with you to continue this very brilliant and, of course, educative discussion.
Yes, sir.
Le petit nono, vanilla se trega, vanilla se trega. Le petit nono, il nous donne l'Afrique au pays d'Occidentaux. Après l'exploitation, les prévalides grâce auxquels ils sont appelés pays développés. Et à côté, Amana Ikeo.
And that one is titled Independence. The group is Les Garagistes, one of the frontline Zulu groups in Ivory Coast. To my listeners in Abidjan, Korogwe, and of course Bouaké, I want to say good afternoon and of course welcome to the 58th episode of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio this day, Wednesday, July the 23rd, 2014, with Douglas Anthony Eze as main guest, and of course lots of other fantastic, interesting, talented and nice people coming up just right ahead in this edition of the show. Solomon Atah in South Africa will be with us in a couple of minutes. But then, don't go away. Listen to this beautiful music and of course enjoy it. 614-987-5097 are the numbers to dial to get in touch with us if you want your voice heard in this edition of the show.
Toujours présent. Alors pourquoi se métier de nos problèmes, Jairi? La gonaille zéro. Pourquoi préserver notre continent pour les aviser? Nos élections, nous devons les consulter.
This is Africa Radio. This is Africa Radio. This is Africa.
Beautiful piece there coming to you from the Republic of Ivory Coast with those very talented Ivorian boys who don't just sing, but they talk quite much in their songs. African Cocktail coming to you from Africa. It is exactly 2 minutes past 12. Time for us to move back to Maryland and join our main guest in this edition of the show, Douglas Anthony Eze. Once again, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, let me find out something about creating generational wealth. If somebody thinks that they are financially satisfied, they are financially stable, and they think that they have amassed a lot of wealth, do they still have to read this book?
Of course. You know why? Because, one thing I believe in life, man, you can never know everything. And I'm still even till today, I'm still very open to ideas. They might read the book and get something out of it. They might read the book and don't get anything out of it because they might have already set up everything that they have to set up. So, you just got to have an open mind and see what it's all about. The book, a person that's accumulated a lot of wealth, but there might be some things that he might not know But it doesn't cost that much. But hopefully they'll have a lot of great advisors around them who give them great information on what to do to keep that wealth in their family.
Now,
so if they're not having those conversations, then they might want to pick up that book.
Now, don't mind me if I ask this question. It's just a kind of question that should come from a journalist. If I go from page 1 to the last page of this book, am I going to be wealthy at the end of it?
Well, I wish it was that easy. Wealth is not something that's created overnight. It comes with a lot of hard work. I've been in the financial service industry for 20 years, and I would say the last 9 years has been the time that I started really getting my foot in the wealth door. But God opened the door for me 20 years ago for me to stay focused in what I do and learn. So, it's not something that you won't, and I say this too, you might read the book and you might say, wow, it's too late for me to start building this wealth. But you know what? It's not too late for your children. It's not too late for your family members, for your people that you care about. You just have to teach them and give them, the book, have them read it, and they might, use the tools that I've put inside creating generational wealth.
Right.
I'm
asking the question because people are not so patient. People need results, which means that somebody wants to read the book and have results at the end of it. This pushes me to ask this question. Must you find wealth gradually, or you need to be, really fast on it?
I wish, finding wealth was something that you could do so fast, because then everybody would be wealthy. But it doesn't work that way. For you to get wealth, you need to understand what wealth is all about and how you need to apply it to your life as you start getting that money gradually. There's so many people that have won the lottery, and guess what? They lose out because it wasn't properly planned and the money is spent. So there's no such thing as fast money. That's why a lot of people get in so much trouble, because everybody, they're not patient.
Right.
I believe, slow and steady wins the race. But you have to be willing to put in the work. And a lot of people today, they might see an Oprah Winfrey on TV, or they see Jay-Z, or they see all these people that are very successful, and they say, man, I want to be like them. I want to do, well, if those people take their shoe off and say, walk in my shoe for just one day, I bet you wouldn't even walk for 2 seconds. You pull your shoe off and say, here's your life. I don't want it. Because they are the hardest working people you'd ever see.
Right.
So to be wealthy or to create richness or whatever, you got to work hard, and you got to be focused, and you got to have positive people around you, and you got to be ready to do what other people are not willing to do, which is maybe start doing some reading. Because that's the problem with most people. They don't like to read anymore.
Okay.
They don't watch TV all day long.
Don't rush, don't take the fast lane, go gradually and acquire wealth genuinely. Now, people must have been listening to us and would probably love to know where they can find copies of Creating Generational Wealth.
Yeah, they could get it on Amazon.com. Amazon's, all over the world. They could get it. They could get it on Kindle for depending on what country you're at, it's converted in your currency, so you could get it on and download it to your phone or your smartphone. And for those people that are here, you could get a signed copy on my website, creatinggenerationalwealth.info or douglaseze.com. Those are the websites you could get it.
One of our missions, especially Africans here in the diaspora, is to contribute to the development of the continent. And I understand that Lago Financial Services, which you run, also has that in mind. What else do you do? Could you just tell us a little bit about Lago Financial Services?
Yeah, we're a full-fledged financial service company, and our mission is to just educate the people
right,
and show them a different way to think. And we've been blessed. We have about 6 offices all over the country. A lot of financial advisors, including CPAs and attorneys that are in our organization that we work with. And so our job is to just keep educating the masses and help them understand, what it takes to save for retirement, plan for the future, and continue to, take care of their family as they continue to grow in this country.
Douglas, I will just take a break for a while and get my correspondent in South Africa. Then when I come back, we'll be running off this special discussion, and I am very happy you gave us this much time. Thank you so much. I'll be back with you.
No problem.
Okay, we stay with Le Garagiste, and that one is titled Unité Africaine. African unity. Africans must be united in whatever thing they do, from the north to the south, to the west and to the east. We still have lots and lots of people to talk in this edition of African Cocktail. Remember that we will go to Sweden to meet an Egyptian actor who will be telling us about his career. Then we shall also listen to Mercy Etta. Mercy Etta is the executive producer of Rejected, an upcoming Cameroonian movie whose production is at the verge of taking place. Okay, but for now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you listening to this edition of African Cocktail, get this. So, is your car problems giving you sleepless nights? Listen to this question. Is your car problems giving you sleepless nights? Now, you simply have to stop thinking about your car maintenance, oil change, tune-ups, tires, and of course many. What you ought to do now is simply to cast your car burdens onto Quality Auto Services. Quality Auto Services. So, Quality Auto Services provides full-time engine servicing, repairs, and of course replacements. Then they also provide complete auto maintenance, oil change, tire change, and of course rotations. Quality Auto Services is specialist in all cars. So bring your car to 5599 Westerville Road, Westerville, Ohio 43081. 599 Westerville Road, Westerville, Ohio 43081. Then Auto Services, Quality Auto Services opens every Monday to Saturday at 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So from Monday to Saturday, you can go there from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then you can also call Quality Auto Services at 614-446-0773. 614-446-0773. And you can also walk in. They say walk-ins are accepted. So at Quality Auto Services, we simply say you will smile. So go there and smile.
distribue.
Comment on fait?
Avec ne se passe pas dans la brousse.
Okay, we have moved from Les Garages, and we are now with Petit Yode and of course Pat Sako, who are singing about the Odils of Ivorian artists in that beautiful one. We're expecting a call from, is it LA? Okay, let's find out what we have. This is African Cocktail. For those of you just joining us, just enjoy this one, then we'll be right back with you. We are going to move over to Los Angeles to meet Sam Ebako. Sam E. Sam E is a young Cameroonian artist who has been doing well in the landscape. Well, before we go to LA and meet Sam E, listen to this one. Okay, that one is titled Dance Makossa. Fortunately, we have gotten in touch with the author of this beautiful piece. His name is Sam E. Sam E will be joining Bracket, Nigeria's Bracket, this weekend in Baltimore, in a much-awaited concert. So, we have the artist on the line to tell us what this concert is all about and just how prepared he is. And at exactly 18 minutes past 12, time for us to move over to LA to meet Sam E. Sam E, you're welcome to African Cocktail. Hello? Yes, Sam E, you're welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. It's my pleasure. How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. And you?
I'm good.
All right, Sam E, I understand you've done a remix of Stuck in My Head, which is your last, the latest single. Is it released yet?
Oh yeah, the song has been released. The song was released on July 4th.
Oh, okay, that's good. And so why did you choose to do a remix of Stuck in My Head just a couple of months after you did this single?
Yeah, sure. You know, as a new artist, you know, I'm out there in the street actually putting out, showcasing my talent. So I thought it was wise, me and my producers, to do another version of the song. So we actually have double remix of the Stuck in My Head. So we have a pop version and we have a French version, which, to portray my roots from where I'm from a French and English country. And also we have this disco pop European electronic style of music, which is called Makossa.
Right. Okay, we're going to talk about the concert you're going to be having in Baltimore this Friday. But before then, I just want to find out from you, are you quite satisfied with the rate at which Stuck in My Head is being consumed and the comments you've been having from the public?
I am overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Right now, Stuck in My Head, especially the pop remix, has been played in most of the TV and radio stations in China and in Japan and some places in Europe. I'm just amazed about, and a lot of producers have been calling me to do performances around, especially in America, and probably next year around the world. So I'm really, really pleased with the influences that the song is putting out there.
Okay, so I understand you'll be having some important performances coming up, beginning with the Baltimore Summer Jam that takes place this Friday, July the 25th. First, how ready are you for this performance?
It's a fun show. It's going to be Brackett and a couple of other singers. I'm going to be one of the performers for the show, so it's going to be fun. It's an African event, but it's more a mixture of just music, hip hop, R&B, and everything, diversity, especially the kind of music that I do. I'm going to introduce the other side of me that I've been getting a lot from my comments. A lot of my African, brothers and sisters, it's kind of hard for them to believe that it's their own African brother who does this kind of music that I do. So what I did was I'm trying to redefine myself to my people, to them to understand that it's me. So I'm introducing actually I'm premiering my two of my Afro pop dance hall songs. I'm going to be performing them live in Baltimore this Friday, plus the remix of Stuck in My Head. So it's going to be fun.
So which are some of the songs you'll be performing?
Two songs, the two Afro pop songs. The titles are Dance Makosa, and the other one is called Yomaga, like Yomugu. They call it in Africa Yomaga. And the third song is going to be Stuck in My Head pop remix, so it's going to be electronic pop version of Stuck in My Head.
Right. So, how were you contacted for this performance?
A lot of producers have been actually getting in touch to me and my manager, and they see talent and from the video Stuck in My Head and the release, and they know something's going to happen sometime, so they want to be part of it. They want to be part of this big dream that is going to happen, that's already happening, and it's going to go bigger as the days go by. So they get me involved, in a lot of shows. There's a lot of calls all over the world, so I'm just excited and living the dream right now.
So you'll be performing side by side with one of Nigeria's top brass contemporary singers. I'm talking about Brackett. So how do you feel about that? And just what do you make of this artist?
I feel great because, probably 5 years ago, I was just listening to Yuri, and today I'm climbing on stage to perform alongside with them. I'm just grateful to God, because He's making my music go to where I want it to be. I'm just so grateful to God and everybody else who supported me out there. I'm really, really, really grateful.
And your next stop will be Beverly Hills on September the 13th, where you'll be performing live at the Nollywood and African Film Critics Awards. Could you tell us how arrangements of this concert came about?
One phone call leads to another. This person sees this talent and they're like, wow, I want to get involved. Everybody want to get into it. This is something's hot and this is real talent. Everybody want to get involved. So they want to expose. They want a lot of exposure and everything, which is great for me as an artist. So they got in touch with me and my crew, and I want to support Africa as much as I can. That's where I'm from. I just don't want Africans to think that I'm just doing the African, the European and the American kind of music. I'm definitely into my people and everything we do. So that's why I thought it was wise to perform in one of the biggest film critics awards in the world for Africa. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm really excited because the medium, the people who are going to be there, it's gonna be a lot of my items that I look forward to. I look forward to meet a lot of people, which is going to be fun for me.
Right. So after September, what next, Sam E?
There's a lot of projects. There's a lot of projects coming up. I'm thinking there's a lot of shows probably in London come next year. There's a lot of shows in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon. There's a couple of videos that I'm going to be releasing out, shooting videos. So the schedule's pretty busy.
I know. So what are you telling your fans ahead of these concerts?
I love you guys. I love how you support my music with honesty, and I love the criticisms that are coming out there. And all I can say is I'm really grateful for supporting me and what I do and believing in what I do. So I just want to let you guys know that I'm just getting started. Actually, I'm just warming up because there's a whole lot of stuff coming up next year that I'm just going to blow your mind, and I'm standing up to that. So I will never let you down. Just keep supporting me. I appreciate it, and I love you guys.
Okay, Sam E loves you. Before you go away, Sam E, could you just remind them of the dates of the Beverly Hills and the Baltimore performances?
Sure. Summer Jam 2014 featuring main artist Bracket and Sammy Bako, and we're going to be in Baltimore July 25th on Friday. The show starts at 11 p.m. to like 3 a.m. Do not miss the show. You need to come and witness it live. It's going to be crazy. It's gonna be fun. So Maryland, DC, Virginia, Pennsylvania, anywhere you guys at down there in the DMV area, we are shutting Baltimore down on the 25th. Word.
Sam E, thank you so much for stopping by and telling us about these performances that are coming up. We wish you the best.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Ernest.
Okay, he's quite young, really, really young, but so talented. He's just exploring the talent which God has given him. This is African Cocktail coming to you from Africa Radio with Ernest, Kanjo. We still have lots and lots of interesting things coming up. We are going to have our reporter in South Africa, Solomon Atah, who has been on standby. Then, after Solomon, we'll run off with Douglas Anthony Eze, the main guest in this edition of the show. Not forgetting Messi, Etta, who is still coming up. And of course, Titus Bnayoh, who will be reporting from Antwerp, Belgium. Then to Cameroon, where Ifaana Qualar has been on standby in the capital city of Yaoundé. Stuck in my head, pop remix, Sam E.
Every day, every minute,
This is Africa Radio.
This is Africa Radio, and you're listening there to Stuck in My Head by Sam E. Sam E is a young Cameroonian contemporary singer who will be moving from his Los Angeles base to Baltimore this weekend, where he'll be having a performance And of course, we just had him a couple of minutes ago in this edition of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio with Ernest Kanjo. It's exactly 25. Is it 25? No, 29. 29 minutes past 12. Time for us to move down south, precisely to Cape Town, where our man Solomon Atah has been on standby. Solomon, welcome to African Cocktail, the 58th episode.
Thank you, Ernest. Welcome to you and your listeners to Johannesburg, which is the economic nerve center of South Africa. It's also known here as the city of gold. The sun has just gone down, and it's just under the horizon. Ernest, today we're going to be talking about the what I call my five sleeping giants of African economy, focusing more specifically on the sub-Saharan continent. We go straight away into it. At number 5, we have Cameroon. Cameroon has a population of 21.7 million people. Cameroon makes it into the base based on its strategic position along the borders of mighty giant Nigeria. It's also the headquarters of the central banks which is with a single monetary unit, the CFA, which is shared by all 6 countries in the sub-region.
Right.
Seen by many as a beacon of peace in what can be seen in the region, we share a fair share of a conflict, especially the volatile situation in the CAR. Cameroon has seen some economic growth in the past 24 months. The economy weighted on export of timber, banana, cocoa, etc. A vibrant stock exchange could add tremendous value, says analysts, to the financial markets. It is the center of the sub-region with a combined population of more than 80 million people. So, Ernest, if you add that to the 170 million people in Nigeria, you can now do the math. And a single currency and the customs union align for ease of flow of people and goods. In some cases, you don't need a passport to get to most of the 6 countries in the sub-region. With this, Cameroon is aiming to be a key player in the sub-region. And last year, Cameroon's economy grew to an all-time high of 8.80%. This is according to Africa Economic Outlook. At number 4, Ernest, we have Angola. Angola has a population of 22.4 million people. This country has been on the map of interest in protracted, while since it gained some stability, unless the incident involving Togolese players in 2010 during the AFCON tournament. Angola can be referred to easily as a sleeping giant. Oil still dominates the economy, Ernest. In recent years, construction has boomed, and property in Angola can be valued in millions of dollars. It's a country that most up-and-coming business people in Africa want a piece of. This is a show for that economy and a force to be reckoned with. At number 3, Ernest, we have Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a landlocked country. The country has now emerged from years of protracted famine and poverty. Today, the country is emerging as a new frontier of sorts in Africa, with a population of 95.5 million people and a very good higher education rate. This country, and the only country never to be colonized, is becoming an attractive destination for investment in the continent. And some analysts are actually saying that no one seems to be paying attention to Ethiopia, that it would just sort of stick its head out like a horse race. We move eastwards, Ernest, East Africa to Tanzania. You will remember that when the new Chinese president visited Africa for the first time, Tanzania was the first stop. And this is also the country famed with one of the pioneers of African unity, Julius Nyerere, and famed for his stability in the federal system of government, indicated chosen by China as his first stop during the first visit to Africa. Last year, Tanzania, as a giant in the East African region, experienced a relative 6.4% growth in 2012. This figure shows strengthening in this economy. Infrastructure development is meant to lift any from poverty, thus increasing the size of the middle class, which in turn fuels their needs for services. The energy and resource sectors has also been a huge contributing factor to that economy. And Tanzania, to me, makes it to the top giant countries to watch, and it's a very attractive investment as it lures in some of the people that go to Kenya for investment, and they just want to go to Tanzania in terms of its touristic potential as well. We should bear in mind that Mount Kilimanjaro
is in Tanzania, the northern part of the country, in Arusha. And this leads up to the giant of Africa. After the rebasing of the Nigerian economy in April this year, Nigeria overtook South Africa as the largest economy in Africa with a 17 million middle-class population according to KNPG Nigeria. The Nigerian economy is on the rise. This is becoming one of Africa's most attractive markets in terms of its size alone. There has also been a noticeable trend of returnees from the diaspora. This is very, very important to someone like the former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, that has been pleading for all Africans to return home, as it were, in order to contribute to Africa's economy. So expansion in various sectors, beside the oil sector, which still is the mainstay of Nigeria's economy, energy in terms of electricity development, entertainment, which is one of the very, very contributing factors that saw the Nigerian economy overtaking South Africa, have become a huge contributor and drivers of the economy. Although the infrastructure is still a main setback, which is why Nigeria did not make the top 10 ease of doing business in Africa. But Ernest, I'm sure you will see that with a 17 million middle class, the demand for services will obviously increase, and the modernizing of that economy would go on. So Ernest, there you have it. Those are my top 10 5 giants of Africa to watch in terms of attractive destinations, especially if you are an investor that you're looking for a destination where it's not yet it's not on everyone else's radar, as it were. So you can go there and open up big markets. But make no mistake, these are no new destinations, but they are some of the destinations that don't get spoken about generally. And let me conclude today with some markets. The currencies here. Currencies, the rand is trading now at $1 will buy you 10 rand and 52 cents. 1 euro will buy you 14 rand and 16 cents. 1 pound sterling, that is the Great British pound sterling, will buy you 17.92 rands. And gold is trading at $1,305.75 an ounce. Platinum is at 1,482 cents and 50 cents. 50 cents an ounce, and oil is 107.99 per barrel. And then the JC closing today, Ernest, at 46,743.73. Ernest, there you have it. This is Solomon Atah.
Solomon, you're not going away yet, Solomon? Hello, Solomon? Hello, Solomon? Yes, Solomon, I have 2 quick questions for you, especially on Nigeria. The first question is, we understand that energy has always been the biggest challenge facing Nigeria's economy. And now that Nigeria has risen to the first spot, are we saying that that problem is solved?
Nigeria has been able to grapple with quite a few, especially the energy issues in terms of electricity generation and supply and distribution and so on. But over the years, there has been considerable investment and interest in terms of that particular sector, because they have been able to understand, as some analysts put it, that they need to sort out, as it were, the energy supply of the country in order to move the economy, to modernize the economy, and to be able to make its attractiveness index a little bit more higher and favorable to other investors.
Right.
So the problem still persists in terms of the lack or the not enough electricity supply. But I'm sure that, as the analysts have put it, that the work that is going on now would push Nigeria out of this sort of a dark area where there's a shortage of electricity into when it becomes a very an emerging economy that is more structured and the supply of electricity is more constant.
A second quick question, Solomon. We understand Nigeria has a natural strength. I'm talking about its population. How come South Africa for quite a long time was leading in terms of economic growth? So why was South Africa occupying the first spot for so long when we understand that Nigeria has the biggest market?
And you will have to bear in mind that the South African economy is very, in terms of the South African economy on the continent, is a very middle-tier economy, and also has a very developed infrastructure, developed ease of doing business, and its attractiveness in terms of the way that it attracts investors and the way that its economic base was prior to 1994 sort of allows South Africa to position itself and become a very attractive destination. And I have to also indicate that the South African government has been very, very cognizant of the fact in terms of marketing the South African brand abroad. As a matter of fact, there are 5 agencies, national agencies, independent agencies, whose job and whose mandate is to market the country abroad. And also owing to the fact that they had a developed infrastructure, they had a middle-tier economy, they are more an emerging, way beyond emerging economy, and also brand Nelson Mandela. All of that combined in the way that the country had positioned itself immediately after 1994 contributed in so many ways to allow the economy to be able to attract the highest number of FDI to the country than any other country in the continent. So those various elements and a whole lot of other indicators sort of put South Africa, especially as well, its ease of doing business. Its ease of doing business is judicial system, the democratic process in itself is also a very contributing, if not a very major contributing factor in terms of how it contributes to attracting investment. So, and more investment into the country means more jobs are created, more investment into the economy, more wages are paid out there, and more people are lifted out of poverty. So that sort of put South Africa in a more advanced, as it were, position more than Nigeria.
Solomon, last question, just before you leave us. You happen to be a Cameroonian, and you mastered the Cameroonian economic landscape so well. And you just made mention of the fact that Cameroon is one of the places which investors should be thinking of going to. And if they think to go to Cameroon, in which sector would they succeed if they invest?
Well, look, when I spoke to some, in fact, like a month or so ago, I spoke to some people, some economic activists, so sort of, as for lack of a better word. They look at Cameroon as a virgin market. That is why it made it into my top 5 and sleeping giants. The fact is that Cameroon is it's the headquarters of the Bnayoh Bank, which is the single monetary unit for the 6 countries in the sub-region. And the Cameroon has a custom union with all the 6 countries. They also have access to borders with no passport or no visas needed. So this opens up, and also people that are a bit weary of going to Nigeria.
Wow. Okay, Solomon, thank you.
So Cameroon is very well positioned to attract investment in tourism, in retail, and in several other sectors such as construction and infrastructure development.
Solomon, thank you so much for that very brilliant economic package from Johannesburg. Thank you so much, and we hope to have you again next week. Same show, same time, same station. Okay, his name is Solomon Atah. He is our man in Johannesburg. Solomon shuttles between Johannesburg and South Africa. Today he is in Cape Town. Tomorrow he is in Johannesburg just for African Cocktail. Solomon, thank you so much. You are the best. Okay, this is African Cocktail coming to you from Africa Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for you as your nutrition specialist. I recommend you eat fresh farm produce that will give you and your family good health, energy, and vitality. I suggest you shop for all your family food products at A Life African Market. Yes, A Life African Market. They sell the best farm produce that will help you and your family live a healthy and energetic life. Shop for all your food products like fufu, yam, rice, meat, chicken, plantain, cassava, and many more. Located at 4384 Cleveland Avenue. Again, 4384 Cleveland Avenue. A-Life. Eat fresh. Spend less.
Okay, his name is Ben Veka. We are now in Central Africa and precisely Cameroon, where we're now taking our Makosa ride. Beautiful music coming to you from Cameroon. And just right ahead, we shall be moving to the country's political capital, Yaoundé, where Ifaana Qualar, our main correspondent in Central Africa, will be filing in. And of course, she'll be updating us on what has been going on in that part of the world. Okay, but before then, we shall move over to Maryland, where our main guest is back on the line. So, Douglas Anthony Eze, once again, welcome.
Thank you.
So, before you, I had my main correspondent in South Africa, Solomon Atah, who was talking about some of the places to invest if you're thinking of going to Africa. And of course, he made mention of Nigeria, that is at the leading spot now in Africa. It's just a couple of months ago that Nigeria was pronounced the leading economy in Africa. When you got that information, how did you feel as a Nigerian and as a financial, an expert in finance?
Well, man, how did I feel about it? Well, I mean, I say it like this, because it's all about, it's great that we were recognized as that, but you know what? When it's all said and done, all that money sits in one person's pocket or a couple of people in that country. I mean, I love Nigeria, I love the country, but I'm just so disappointed in the rulers of the country, because they come to America, they travel to Europe, they travel to all these parts of the world, and they see how people are living in those countries, in those parts of the world, but then they go back to their own country and even have people living in dumps. So it's still so sad that there's still a lot of homeless children in Africa, especially in Nigeria, and we're supposed to be the giant of Africa. It's just a shame and it's sad. So, that's all I have to say about that. Just disappointed in that country.
Douglas,
and the rulers of the country. We have great people in Nigeria, of course. We have hard-working families, hard-working people, but it's just so sad that the rulers, the politicians, don't give a care. And we still have the missing children, the girls, up until today, still nothing about that. So it's a sad thing. It's a sad day, it's just a shame that they come around and they come here, they see how everything is going well, where there's lights, there's everything here. Then you go by, it's like going to visit somebody, you go to someone's house, your house is a mess. You go to somebody's house, see how that person's house is, how it's well laid out, and you leave the house and you go back to your own mess and you don't want to take care of your house.
Right.
That's a bad thing. So that's all I got to say about that, man.
Now, there are countries in Africa that are so small in terms of population, yet so rich in terms of resources. Are you one of such people who think that if Africa had good leadership, virtually every African would have been self-sufficient financially?
Of course. I mean, it's all about having great leadership and having people that, instead of just thinking about how much they got to fill up their pocket and take care of the masses. I mean, no country is perfect. I mean, even here in America, there's no perfect situation. But even here, the government, I mean, they still do what they do. I'm sure there's a lot of corrupt folks here, but at the end of the day, they make sure people have light. They make sure the roads are good. They make sure, people can feed and eat. And if there's homeless, they still have opportunities for them. So you could complain or you don't, but in Africa, they don't give a care. I mean, I'll talk about Nigeria because that's where I'm from. I can't speak for every other African country. I just talk about where I'm from because that's what I see when I go home, when I visit. It's just it's sad. The money just stays in one circle. And there's a lot of business owners in Africa, in Nigeria, that are doing very well for themselves, but the government still frustrates the hell out of them.
Right.
I mean, frustrate them to the point, these guys are putting employment in people's hands, getting jobs, but the government makes it so difficult that they can't even get their business, they can't even run their business. That's why there's a lot of business owners in Nigeria that are young, are dying off with high blood pressure, heart attacks, because they're so stressed out. They're making money, but they're so stressed out. It's just a sad thing. It's very sad.
Yeah,
it's a very different conversation.
One of those ugly experiences Africans face is retirement. When people go on retirement, looks like life becomes really, really difficult. After serving their countries for 30 years plus, upon retirement, they are unable to just get the retirement benefits which they deserve. What can you say about that? And how can Africa move out of this terrible situation?
Well, again, that falls back to the system and the government and everything in that part of the world. But here in America, I mean, there shouldn't be any reason a person could work 30, 40 years and don't retire, because a lot of companies offer retirement programs. I've met with people in Africa that live here that are still in this country that are not even contributing to a company's retirement plan, like a 401k plan. They don't contribute. I'm going to retire in Africa. What are you going to retire in Africa to do with your smile? You're going to go back to Africa. You need money. Some of these people say, I'm going to go, I don't want to save any money here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take all my money home. Well, you go home for 1 month. You think you're King Kong. You realize you need money because your money don't last that long. So my advice to the Africans that are here in America, all over the world, take advantage of the system and save your money in the plans that the companies offer you to put in. And if your company is not offering you a retirement plan, well, you need to sit down with an advisor, a financial advisor, and get something started. There shouldn't be any excuse that you're going to be in this country for 20 years and you don't have $10,000 saved up. Or you work hard, and which is another big mistake most Africans do. They work hard, they spend all their money here and send it home to build a house because they're trying to impress someone. Well, first of all, let me break the news to you. Your children are not moving back home. They're already Americanized. None of them is going. So that big mansion, you're living in a hut here, but you're building a mansion back home. I don't know why people do that so backward.
Some serious talk. They're coming from the wealth strategist and financial advisor Douglas Eze. Douglas, we'll definitely have to invite you again to this show to throw more light on these issues. They are so complicated that even 3 hours can't be enough to explain. Okay, we are soon running off this conversation, but just to tell Africans that take advantage of your company's retirement plan and save some money, because the days of retirement are not usually rosy. So you must take that into consideration. Douglas, let us talk briefly about the credit record system, which is what nobody can't do without here in the United States of America. And some Africans say that the use of credit card is a big problem. Some just use it excessively, others simply abstain. So, what should people do? What is the best thing to do as far as managing your credit record is concerned?
Well, when you're in Rome, you act like the Romans. Like that's that word. We remember that. We say it all the time. Credit card is what people here live by. I mean, everything is a credit system. If you don't have good credit, you might as well just get out of the way for people. So the key is not just having a credit card and maxing it out and spending it to where you just don't know can account for it.
Right.
Like they say, there's good debt and there's bad debt. I mean, I have credit cards and that I use, but every credit card that I have a credit card that's attached to a point system or miles. So every time I spend $1, I get a point or miles from it. Why? Because when I travel, I want to be able to travel business class, and I use the miles to do that and pay for that. So if you have a credit card, make sure you have a credit card that you could gain some benefits in, if it's cash rewards or whatever it is. But you got to use it wisely. You can't use credit card unwisely. You got to be smart about it. And, so it's a whole new system. You got to understand the system, and if you're not disciplined, then stay away from credit card. Don't use it. I mean, you cannot be in a situation where you spend money and don't expect to pay the stuff back. It's not free.
Right.
You got to pay back. So what I say to folks is if you want to build up your credit, which is a great thing, because once you have good credit, you get everything you want, and you have money in your pocket, you also get a whole lot. That's the key, and I talk about that, a little bit about that in my book as well, showing you how to create your own private bank, where you could become the banker instead of depend on the local bank. I share about how I've used my own private bank to start a medical clinic for my wife, and the clinic is paying me back at an interest that I charge to the clinic. And when I retire, I'm going to be taking money from my own private bank, tax-free, without paying $1 in taxes to it. Why? Because I already paid the IRS tax on the money, but the interest, because of the rules that the IRS already created, I follow the rules. You got to follow the IRS rules. You can't try to avoid paying taxes because the IRS, they control everything, so you got to be smart and have financial advisors that know the rules. If you know the tax rules, you understand and you win. If you don't know the money rule, you're going to lose all the time. So many people get in the game and they don't take the time to find an advisor that understands the rules. So I share my book how I'm using the tax rules to my advantage, and pay the IRS what they want you to pay them, and then they give you opportunities to be able to put your money in an account that grows tax deferred, where it grows tax deferred, but you can also take it out tax free. There's so many stuff out there. You just got to open your mind and go sit down with someone that understands the situation, and they could help you create situations that will benefit you and your family in the long run.
Right. If you don't know the rules, you'll definitely be on the losing end. Douglas, we'll definitely find time to have you again on this show, and I'll probably like us to talk about taxation, which is also a big problem. We don't have time for that today. We'll definitely come back to that. Thank you so much. But before you go away, I'm going to ask you this very salient question as an illustrious son of Africa. Now, do you think that in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, Africa is going to delete IMF, World Bank from the economic dictionary? Is it possible?
Once they delete them from the dictionary, what are they going to do with money? I mean, it's not like they're deleting, the money that the World Bank and the IMF is giving to Africa. The sad thing about it is ends up in it's helping a lot of the communities that it's supposed to help.
I'm asking this question. I'm asking this question because it's been established that from south to north, Africa is so rich. You go to South Africa, you have riches. You go to DRC, you have underground wealth, which is untapped. You go to Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea is El Dorado in terms of natural resources. Yet, Africa still relies on Bretton Woods bodies for financial aid. Is this going to continue happening like that?
We need a Rawlings type of ruler to go into all the corrupt African rulers, all those corrupt politicians, and clean them out. That's what we're looking for. Just like how Rawlings took care of Ghana and was able to take them from where they are. I mean, Ghana is doing well that's why President Obama went to Ghana to visit, because they're showing what they need to do. So we need somebody like that to go in and clean out Africa, and maybe that will help and have us start looking into our natural resources that we have. We have so much. Africa is so blessed with so many natural resources, but all those corrupt politicians are not letting that money spread out to the whole. I mean, we're not saying don't eat money. They're going to always eat money, but you know what? Take care of the people. The people need you to take care of them. That's all I got to say about that, man. So that's why I'm here in America, man, just, enjoying the life. And I'm blessed to be here. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be able to be here and do what I need to do and, and keep it moving. I leave the rest of politics to those, people that are doing that. But that's just my job is to educate people that are here and say, listen, stop thinking about, I'm going to do this back home or do that. Focus on what you're going to do here right now that you're here, and the people back home will take care of themselves. When they get sick and tired of being sick and tired, guess what? They need to rise up and fight for their freedom, or else they're going to keep being taken advantage of. That's all.
Take care of the people, spread the wealth. That's a good message for African leadership. Thank you so much, Douglas Eze. This is how it happened on this show today, and this is just what we had for you as time. Thank you so much. We hope that you'll find time and come back on this show, because there are still some issues which Africans need to be clarified on. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best, not only in your book, Creating Generational Wealth, but also with your company, Lago Financial Services.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite, man. God bless.
God bless you. His name is Douglas Anthony Eze. He is a wealth strategist, financial advisor. He's also an author and, of course, a speaker. He was the main guest in this edition of African Cocktail. It's exactly 1 p.m. and we still have Messi Etta to talk about Rejected, which is an upcoming Cameroonian movie. Then we shall go to Cameroon and have our Central African report. Then we run off with African Tele Review. So, have you just received your prescriptions from your doctor? Looking for a convenient pharmacy to get all your medications and pharmaceutical counseling? And of course, many more? Then Hope Pharmacy is the right place to go. Hope Pharmacy. Hope Pharmacy provides free prescription pickup and delivery. They also provide free vitamins with your prescriptions order, then easy transfer of prescriptions, free medication counseling, fast track prescription service, and of course, they say no wait time. So Hope Pharmacy accepts major insurance coverages. Hope Pharmacy is located at 5791 Cleveland Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43231. I take it again, 5791 Cleveland Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43231. Then you can always visit Hope Pharmacy at 5791 Cleveland Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 4 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 231. Like I said, and of course, the opening hours are 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday. Then on Saturday, the pharmacy opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 2:30 p.m. So you can always get to Hope Pharmacy at 614-426-4160. 614-426-4160. At Hope Pharmacy, we simply say your health is our priority. Your health is our priority.
Amena malonge, amumamo yo mi bojilo. Amena malonge, amumamo yo mi manyaga. Ochina longa la moto, manja kitia sam. Voilà festival. Amena malonge, amumamo yo me bodilo. Amena malonge, amumamo yo me manyakai. Ernest, wasingae. Music from Heart and Soul. All right. Amadou. Nyoto popete heavy musiki. Benda lo manyo goso, yende na dinamo
This is Africa Radio.
Okay, his name is Romeo Jika in that beautiful one titled Mapenda. Mapenda is coming to you from Africa Radio and of course from African Cocktail, the edition of July the 23rd, 2014. Okay, it's exactly 5 minutes past 1, time for us to move to Europe and precisely in the Kingdom of Belgium. Then when we get to Belgium, we'll definitely move to the metropolis of Antwerp. Then, our man in Antwerp is Titus Bnayoh, our permanent correspondent out there. Titus is on the line for updates on what has been happening from that part of the world and, of course, from that part of Europe. Titus, welcome to the 58th edition of African Cocktail.
Yes, Ernest, goedemiddag out here in the Diamond City of Antwerp. That means good afternoon in Dutch. Okay. Ernest, a kids talent show will take place on Saturday, July 26th in Antwerp, Brussels, organized by African Beauty International. The show is aimed at identifying talents in kids with an African background, and that will be for consequent promotion. Hosted by Ms. Tekla Mbunwe, who doubles as the CEO of African Beauty International, the show will definitely be a crowd puller. African Beauty International is an NGO based in Brussels which aims at showcasing African beauty with a purpose of supporting education in Africa. Yes, Ernest, last Saturday, July 19, will definitely go down memory lane for African filmmakers, actors and actresses as they benefited from a workshop organized by Diamond SO of Africability. And the seminar or the workshop dubbed Find Your Place was actually meant for trying to tell the African filmmakers out here exactly what it pertains to actually going into the film industry. That we have to go in with an open mind, and finding a place actually means that you have to create your own unique identity as far as acting is concerned. Yes, Ernest, definitely will be coming back to this story with much more emphasis and much more ideas that were discussed in that seminar or workshop. Ernest, I will not leave without mentioning the fact that the temperatures out here are quite high, and when such moments come up, you definitely find people moving around in shorts because it is too hot for people to contain the heat that is out here. And when such moments come, Ernest, they also give way for people to party around, organizing BBQs or barbecues in the Antwerp Sport North Park, where most children will go there to have a cool down as the water must be flowing to make them reduce their temperatures. Ernest, will definitely take a rendezvous for next week, except you have something for me, then we will say goodbye.
Titus,
au revoir.
Titus, you're not going away yet. Titus, I just want to find out from you, what do you have on Bnayoh FM perhaps this evening? So what's up? What should listeners of that station should be looking up to this evening?
Yes, Ernest, actually, we'll have Pepper Soup. I will be broadcast at exactly 9 p.m. Paris time or 8 p.m. in Douala, Cameroon. Pepper Soup, as I did mention the last time, is a program that deals with societal issues, and the program is done in the lingua franca pidgin. So listeners will definitely not want to miss this wonderful program, which will, the second edition is actually dealing with so many things that we do falter or so many things that we do wrong in the society. Well, we on Bnayoh FM are doing our best to try to right the wrongs of the society, and one of the major things we always say on Pepper Soup pepper soup. If no vex, I beg, no vex. That is, if you don't vex plenty for pepper soup, you could learn plenty. Ernest, that is it from this end.
Righting the wrongs of society. Titus, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and we hope to have you again next week on this show. But then, do have a fantastic rest of the day out there in the city of Antwerp, and don't forget to put on your shorts because it's really hot. And if you are having some barbecue this coming weekend, don't just forget the host of African Cocktail, because he too likes to be in the barbecue mood. Okay, that is how it is with Europe today. We still hope to get a report from Cameroon with Ifaana Qualar, who is our Central African correspondent. But before we get there, let's listen to this music. Then we see what we have just right ahead. Piece there titled Diba is by Nono Flavi, one of Cameroon's frontline Makossa singers. Nono Flavi hails from the west region of Cameroon, but then she sings in Douala. And talking about Douala, Douala is situated in the coastal belt of Cameroon, and of course it is the economic nerve center of the country, not just Cameroon but of course of Central Africa. And from the Central African sub-region, we now receive our main correspondent who has been covering the countries that make up this great sub-region. Ifaana Qualar is based in Douala, and from the banks of River Wuri, we now say welcome to African Cocktail, Ifaana.
An army of sheep led by a lion can defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. So goes the Central African wife thing. And it is from Central African sub-region that I'm filling in. Ernest and listeners of African Cocktail, good afternoon and welcome. I'm reaching from the banks of Wuri, 42 miles from the giant Mount Cameroon, which is the highest in Central and West Africa. We shall not be talking about Mount Cameroon, otherwise known as the chariot of the gods, though. But today we'll be talking about Gabon, where recently events are confirming the palatable fact that the Central African sub-region does not operate as a bloc and needs to do so urgently. Some 100 migrants are yet to come out of frustration after being flushed out of Gabon. They were among 500 or so migrants from Cameroon, Chad, and Central African Republic detained for 10 months in Gabon and accused of mining unlawfully. Some of the flushed migrants have been recounting their bitter experiences encountered during these times in detention. While some have told stories of deteriorating health while in prison, others have reported that they were deprived of food and their rights as migrants. Perhaps the sad story comes from those from Central African Republic who said Gabonese authorities were quite aware that their country had become a no-go zone following last year's war that saw Francis Bozi's troubled. Yet they were kicked out of Gabon where they had come to seek refuge. This recent incident has raised more questions as to whether the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC, really bothers about the concerns of citizens that make up the bloc. Unlike in other sub-regions in the continent, traveling from one country to the other in Central Africa is a bitter experience. Well, the hope is that things will change someday, somehow.
Definitely, Ifaana, the hope is that things will change someday. And as usual, the sub-region has things to smile about. And talking about these smiles, we hear some children in Cameroon fast getting closer to their dreams of becoming great actors in future. They have started working towards this. So we hear Ifaana.
Yes, and then the ages of the said children range from 7 to 17, and they are being trained as part of a popular Kids Holiday Workshop program that kicked off in 2008 and initiated by Mbang Joseph Song. They are being tortured by award-winning Cameroonian actor Anourin Wenebom, who played lead character in the much talked about Nina's Dowry that has backed more than 30 international awards. According to the actor, the children are being drilled on performance techniques and other aspects in the act of acting. Organizers of the Kids Holiday Workshop, taking place in Boya, also told African Cocktail that the children are being drilled in music, dance, photos, and photography. At the end of each session, we were told the children perform a play written by Anourin. What a way of making their holiday useful. They're laying the foundation stone today to build a better tomorrow for the children.
Right. Useful holidays indeed. But Ifaana, some actors have gone beyond training and are now delivering and making great strides in the industry. Some of them are the ones who will lift trophies at this weekend in Yaoundé when the 14th edition or the 2014 edition of the African Film Festival dubbed Ecran Noir rounds off. We hear Yaoundé has been the film capital of Africa since last Saturday. Ifaana.
A film capital that has attracted scores of filmmakers and artists from all over the world. And today is the 5th day, Ernest, since the guests to this year's Ecran Noir Film Festival have been appreciating motion pictures produced on the black race by black filmmakers worldwide. As usual, activities of the festival include workshops, conferences, and screening films are in contest at the end of the festival awards, and at the end of the festival, awards will be dished out. For the first time, film produced in English-speaking divide of Cameroon have made a greater impact. For 10 movies selected in the Cameroonian category, 8 are movies done in English, an outcome that has been quite inspiring to producers from this divide. The Ecran Noir is the biggest film festival taking place in Africa after FESPACO in Burkina Faso. It is run by one of Cameroon's most renowned filmmaker, Basek Bakobo. We shall be back on this story next week, and I shall tell you what is happening in Yaoundé and tell you everything about Ecran Noir. Ernest and listeners of African Cocktail, I must take my leave now to settle on a hot pot of ndolé and miondo, one of our traditional delicacies here. You do have a nice time and take care of yourself and of each other.
Ifaana, you make me salivate, eh? Ndolé and miondo, how I wish you could ship some to me here. Well, Ndole and Myonde is definitely what my very good friend Crystal Beauty of the Crystal Beauty Show also loves. And talking about Crystal Beauty, she will be up with African Tele Review just right ahead in this edition of African Cocktail. Don't go away yet. We still have a film producer to tell us about Rejected, which is an upcoming Cameroonian movie whose initial phase would kick off anytime from now. 19 minutes past 1. We are slowly but steadily getting to the end of this 58th episode of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio.
Are you looking for a one-stop shop with a friendly and caring service in the community? Then A&G Commerce is the place to be. Hi, this is Golda. I want to invite you to visit A&G Commerce Limited. We provide money transfer services, bill payment, money orders, and phone minutes. We also carry phones, 220-volt appliances, televisions for Africa, African groceries, beauty products, and many more. Our address is 5775 Cleveland Avenue. Our phone number is 614-437-9776. We're open from Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. We're closed on Sundays. A&G Commerce, the place to be. A&G Commerce, we're here for you.
We are back with Bendeka Music of the Yes. That one is titled Trésor. Trésor is coming to you from Africa Radio, the 58th edition of the party on radio. Call it African Cocktail with Ernest Kanjo. July the 23rd, 2014. We're reaching you with good music, with good information, good education. And of course, what of you? Soon we shall be moving to somewhere around the city of Columbus, where executive producer of the movie Rejected will be telling us about preparations ahead of the production of this upcoming Cameroonian movie. Then we shall be running off this edition of African Cocktail. Voix, belle chanson, belle melody, and his name is Bendeka. That one is titled Trésor. We're not going to have all of it because we have the next guest on the line. Her name is Mercy Etta. She's the executive producer of an upcoming Cameroonian movie, which we shall discover just right ahead when we get her on the airwaves. Mercy, you're welcome to African Cocktail.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, how are you today, Mercy?
I'm fine. I'm good. And you?
I'm all right. I can't complain. We thank God for everything.
Yeah.
So, from your voice, you are ready for something that is coming up.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
our second production. So, I mean,
right.
You got to be excited. If you do it the first time, I do it the second time, then it means you're doing something good. And
definitely.
You got to be excited.
And that something good is Rejected, which is a movie you're about to produce. I must say that you are the Chief Operating Officer of Cradle Rocks Productions International, which is, of course, an audiovisual production outfit based here in Columbus. Am I right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Right. So we got the title as Rejected, and we understand that you are about to shoot that movie, and it is going to be done in association with Can Quintos's Quincia Films. Are you confirming this?
Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. We're going to do a co-production with him, and it's been a really awesome pleasure to work with him.
Right. So, last Saturday it was the auditioning phase of this project. So how did it go?
It went just as planned, you know. The audition had to get some other, you know, the cast members for the movie and stuff like that. And people responded, and it went well. So right now we are looking forward to the actual phase of shooting.
So we hear it will be a multi-racial cast movie with a bulk of the actors being Americans. How easy or difficult has it been to get these Americans to join this cast as we speak?
Yeah, you know, it's not that easy to bring people together of different races, you know, especially as we're from Cameroon, we're used to Cameroon movies and stuff like that. But this is a very big challenge, which, you know, it wasn't that easy. But working with a guy like Quinton, you know, he's the man of the people, you know. He really knows how to get these people together. So it was a little difficult for him, but trust me, he did it. So to bring these races together for a project is not that easy, you know.
Right.
But he did it. He did it, and he got a very great cast, which is multiracial. We have all kinds of, you know, races there, which is really good.
So from what you say, you're satisfied with the actors you're going to be featuring in this movie?
Of course, you can't work with, you know, you can't work with people that you don't know they're going to give you what you want, you know. So working with people that you know, they provide exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
You can't ask anything better than that.
So how is your technical crew going to look like? The director, the cameraman, and all of that?
Well, I'll leave that for my boss, you know, to say that, you know. Though we are co-producing this movie, he is going to be the producer, you know. And we have things that we work together and other things that, you know, his expertise is really needed. So on this particular one, you know, he's going to come on the air sometime with you. And, you know, we'll see.
Right. So we are now in a stage where Cameroonians get very excited and anxious each time a new movie is mentioned. And they are already asking, when will this movie be shot? And of course, Can Quintos is involved. And whenever Quintos is involved, it means that there is something in the air. So people are already asking, when are you starting, you know, with the filming of this movie? Tell them, Mercy.
Yeah, the movie is there. We are aiming at the first week of August, which is next month, a couple of weeks away. You know? Yeah, so that's when this one will start for the movie. It's going to go all through to September.
Right.
You know, and one other thing I wanted to make mention is, working with somebody like Quintus, he's this guy that, you know, he wants to get this moving. So working with him, we just have to be going, you know. We just have to be going and see how far we're going to go.
So, from a look at the story which you'll be shooting, are we saying that Cameroon, Africa, America, and the rest of the world should be getting set to watch the story? Because it looks like it involves virtually all of these places I've mentioned.
Well, this particular story is a story that will warm everybody's heart. You know, it's a story that every race is going to identify to, because I mean, it tells you about how the human soul is really strong. You know, being in a kind of a situation, and then you come and, when you feel that's it, there's no way out. And then you come and realize how the human soul is really, really strong, and people don't know that. Some people, when they get to that point, that's when they realize how strong they are. So especially this movie itself is going to make people to realize, this is going to touch every single person because it's reality. Somebody is probably having this issue somewhere, So it's a movie that is not only for Cameroonians, it's not only for Africans, no, it's a movie for everybody. That's why we have the whole cast is multiracial, because it's a message that we want to pass across,
Right.
Like this particular story itself about this guy suffering from cancer and stuff like that. Working in a medical field, you see how this thing is being treated, how people go through it. So it's just a way of bringing the whole picture out to people to see that, sometimes even if you are done, you have to fight, at least fight, and reach a point where if you can no longer fight, you'll be at peace with your soul that you tried. And it's just a way of giving people courage and telling people that no matter what you do, God is there. He's looking at you. And when you call on him, he will never let you down.
When you call on him, he will never let you down. Fight with the last iota of your blood. Mercy, I'm going to leave you, but then one last question. I know film production is a huge challenge. It requires a lot of resources. Are you set? Is Cradle Rocks Entertainment or Cradle Rocks Production International and Quincia Films ready for this production in terms of resources?
Yeah, by the grace of God, we pull it together. So, the Bible says faith is the evidence of things not seen. So we have faith that two of us, these two production companies, will pull this movie together, and it's going to happen. So yeah.
Okay, and that is called putting hands on deck. It's always good to come together and do things. One hand can just tie a bundle. I'm going to wish you the best, Mercy, and African Cocktail will follow up this story. So when next we knock at your door, do well to open it for us.
Oh yeah, it will always be open for you, and thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure as well. Thank you so much. Her name is Mercy Etta. She is a film producer, and she's the chief operating officer of Cradle Rocks Productions International. It's a new film production outfit. Okay, a live African market. A live African market. So, finding a good place to shop for all your family food stuff has not been that easy. But then, a live African market is just that solution which you want. A live African market is a one-stop shop that sells fresh farm produce at cheaper prices. So shop here, shop here, shop here. And of course, if you're shopping here, then you're shopping for plantains, chicken, fish, meat, fufu, yam, and many more. They provide money transfer, calling cards, beauty products as well. So, to get to a live African market, you simply have to set your GPS at 4384 Cleveland Avenue behind CVS at junction of Morse Road and Cleveland Avenue. 4384 Cleveland Avenue behind CVS at junction of Morse Road and Cleveland Avenue. Then you can always get there Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday, I repeat, 10 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then on Sunday, you can go to a live African market from 2 p.m. It opens from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. Then, if you want to call them, you simply press your fingers on 614-414-0330. 614-414-0330. At a live African market, we simply say, eat fresh and, of course, spend less. Okay, we are doing the last few minutes of the game. This is African Cocktail coming to you from Africa Radio. You're listening there to G-Com Lam Lamoto. And of course, the artist is Shalom Bango, who went a long time ago, but then her music plays on. Beautiful Makossa piece coming to you from Central Africa. And precisely Cameroon. Then in the city of Douala. And of course, from Douala, where we had Ifaana Qualar reporting just a while ago. In a couple of seconds, we shall be moving to Boston to meet Crystal Beauty and her African Tele Review slot. Then we shall be bidding bye to you. This is African Cocktail, the 58th edition, with your friend Ernest Kanjo. Une très très belle chanson captivante. Vous êtes sur les ondes de Africa Radio, and of course the show is African Cocktail. Now let's move over to Boston, Massachusetts, where the young Crystal Beauty has been looking into the nature of one of the most watched African shows here in the diaspora. Not only the diaspora, but then that show is watched even in Africa. And a great country, Nigeria, where it has lots and lots of fans. So, what do we have in that package? Crystal Beauty, African Tele Review.
What's happening on African entertainment television? African Tele Review brings you more on some of the most captivating African TV shows. African Tele Review, visualizing African television on the African Cocktail.
In this second chapter of the slot, we take you to Cameroon, first to the country's national broadcaster, the Cameroon Radio and Television, CRTV, where Tam Tam Weekend has kept viewers glued to their TV set since the show was incepted in the mid-80s. Tam Tam Weekend is a 2-hour-long magazine show on the CRTV, and the live version of the show comes up every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. GMT, which should be 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Affectionately called TTW, Tam Tam Weekend was conceived and created in early days of television in Cameroon in the mid-80s. Observers says it has stood the test of times, and perhaps because the concept remains appealing. Habitually hosted by two presenters, a male and a female, Tam Tam Weekend covers areas such as entertainment, education, business, etc. The show runs feature reports, some of them very promotional in nature, interviews and advert slots. On special episodes of the show, Tam Tam Weekend focuses on particular dossier or locality in the country. If the show is going for the second option, Tam Tam Weekend will present the geography of the locality, its history, administrative setup, economy, culture, tourism, potentials, and what have you. This approach has greatly contributed to sell the tourism image of Cameroon over the years. Tam Tam Weekend Show usually runs with a main guest artist performing at interval live in the famous Studio 1 of the CRTV production center situated at the Douala 2 neighborhood in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé. Some of the renowned presenters of Tam Tam Weekend over the years have been Julius Wami, Veronique Monique Ma, Josephine Dango, Patrick Siane, Poli Diran, Rose Mbole Epi, Olivier Kinge, Fonge Gwen, Ghislaine Ebang, Ivo Paten, Benan Boma, just to name a few.
African Tele Review, visualizing African television on the African Cocktail.
Okay, African Tele Review, visualizing African television on Africa Radio. You must have noticed that we had the second chapter of that slot there. Well, we're sorry about that. We'll definitely have a fresh chapter next week, which we already have. We'll be here with it next week, so don't just bother much about that. Thank you so much, Crystal Beauty, with that beautiful insight into Tam Tam Weekend, which is one of the oldest shows on the CRTV, which is Cameroon's state-run television. Okay, we are running off this edition of African Cocktail, so don't just go away. We are still with you for a couple of seconds, then we'll be saying bye-bye in a special way.
This is Africa Radio.
All-Star Academy Learning Center Amao. All-Star Academy Learning Center wa achache for one in day wa bofra entity mu meche child development. Na baby amofra esua de.
This is Africa Radio.
All-Star Academy Learning Center eje amofra free. Na watwe nsia meche sessuis kopem enfie dumienu meche 12 years. Enti awfwe fa obako All-Star Academy Learning Center. Na onya nyina sopa na boa ne daachin. All-Star Academy Learning Center ebie Monday through to Friday, 6 a.m. to 12 midnight. Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. All-Star Academy Learning Center, Betmi Abwa Mwanya, Abai Mwa, Michelle the 22 Government Assisted Program. Saupe All-Star Academy, Echira Kwaya, Shishawa 5992 Westerville Road, Suite 1, Westerville, Ohio, 43081. 5992 Westerville Road, Suite 1, Westerville, Ohio, 43081. Betmi Ephraim 24, hour 614-899-0035. 614-899-0035. All-Star Academy Learning Center, where every child becomes a star.
Okay, All-Star Academy Center, where all children become stars. Okay, and talking about stars, we want to thank everyone who participated in this edition of African Cocktail. I'm going to describe each and every one of you as a star. A star in their various respects. And so, that is how we put a full stop to this vibrant edition of African Cocktail that came to you this day, July the 23rd, 2014. It was a very big and dynamic team that kept you company this day. African Kitchen Manager Suzanne A.A., Belgium Correspondent Titus Bnayoh, Germany Correspondent Maxel Adik, South Africa Correspondent Solomon Atah, Central African Correspondent Ifaana Qualar, African Tele Review, Crystal Beauty of the Crystal Beauty Show, Resource Person number 1, Kenneth Ngamne, Resource Person number 2, Suleiman Koyate, Resource Person number 3, Matthew Ayon, Content Critic, The White Bokery, Production Collaboration, Crystal Beauty of the Crystal Beauty Show, African Cocktail, Promo Banner, Ajik Maxel, Bo Boateng, guest at large in this edition, Sam E., who spoke from Los Angeles, California, Messi Etta spoke from Columbus, Ohio, then We also had as main guest Douglas Anthony Eze, collaboration Big Bo, Awal Muhammad, DJ Cash, Damilola, Jari, Mayo Makinde, Seran KK, coordination Nana Ampem, Davis Odeneho Apia. My name is Ernest Kanjo, regular host of African Cocktail, asking you to join me again next Wednesday for yet another vibrant edition of the show. And until we meet next Wednesday, it is bye bye, ciao, au revoir, merci, I'm gone. See you then. To God be the glory.